Hi everyone. Hello familia. How is everybody doing out there? We are now live, a few minutes early for our IG live with none other than Jala Eaton. So I see her. Let's see. Let's see. How do I do this? Oh, here we go. I think we have her on. Let's give her a minute or two. I'm looking forward to this conversation, everyone. And there she
It
is.
worked.
Hello, Queen. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing great now that I see you on camera.
It worked without issue. Thank you, Instagram.
Yes, exactly. I always have the IG live pre-jitters only because I'm like, is this going to work or not work?
No, we're gonna make it work. It's gonna be okay. I've turned on my silence so it shouldn't interrupt our feed. I'm trying to make sure this is seamless.
Oh my gosh, good point. Good point. Let's make sure I have that as well.
Oh yeah, I do IG lives on Mondays, and it never fails. I always get a call or a text message or something that pauses the video. So I've learned.
Well, I'm glad you come to us with experience. So if any of the above happen, you can help us troubleshoot live.
I got you. Got you covered.
So I know we're starting a bit early, and folks know this starts at 1, but I love the IG live because it allows folks to come in either live right now, but a lot of times folks miss the session because they forget or something comes up or they're busy, and that happens to me all the time. So I love how Instagram records these little videos so we could post them and people can, listen in later. So
Oh, yes, on
we are
demand.
going, yeah, we're going to get started. So I want to welcome you. Thank you, Jayla. You're near and dear to my heart. And when I met you a couple years ago and through a mutual connection, I will say. And so I'm just ecstatic that you agreed to kind of do this with me and this platform that I've created at Bella, really supporting with a focus of Latina entrepreneurs, but just
Yeah.
supporting small business in general and entrepreneurship in general. And so I'm glad that you're here. So let's get started with, how about you tell us a little bit about who you are and maybe a little bit about my own financial, and we'll definitely put the plug in at the end so folks know how to reach you.
Hi, everybody. I'm Jala Eaton. I'm your wealth best friend. I've created On My Own Financial as a platform to empower women, specifically Black women, to build and protect their wealth and legacy through estate planning and investing. What that means is I'm here to help. I am a licensed attorney and a certified financial advisor. So I'm here on Instagram weekly, if not more, just giving financial knowledge, talking about estate planning, and trying to give what I know.
Thank you, Jayla. And I love Jayla's energy. Y'all are going to love it too. For those of you that don't know Jayla, as we go through kind of this conversation, we keep these usually short. We always say 15-minute chat with, whoever our guest is and the expert is. We want this message to be succinct. We want it to be helpful. And, if you want to follow up with Jayla later, we definitely are going to add her social media handle, any contact info y'all interested in. And so we just want to get right to it. So I love your focus and the mission of your business and what you're trying to do. And I think that it was important for me to reach out to you because I think we don't oftentimes think about what financial health really means, specifically for small business owners and entrepreneurs just getting started, right? So it's something that we worry about, kind of, building our brand and what's our plan, and if it's a product or service, what is it? How do we implement it or execute it? But we don't always think about the financial piece, and not just going beyond accounting and just kind of managing the dollars, but what are those golden nuggets? And really that's the focus of today. What are those golden nuggets you can share with those that are listening, that have their business, that are thinking about starting a business, that maybe we don't oftentimes really think about while we're building our business or even running our business?
Yes, very important question. And one thing that you will learn about me, I am always about goals and getting to the true what is it that you want? What matters to you, and not what society says it should be, and not why somebody else says you should be creating this business. What is it that you want to create a business, and why? That's one of the first questions that you should ask yourself. In my situation, it was I wanted to share my knowledge. That's why On My Own Financial exists. And then it became, well, if I'm talking about wealth and I want others to become wealthy, I have to know what wealth means to me, because it's not about just money and assets like we've been told. For me, wealth is what I define it as. It's health, it's physical and mental and emotional, it's time, having that time. So I constantly try and get business owners to think of, okay, why are you putting your time, your very, very precious time, into this business, this thought, this concept? And what is it that you hope to achieve? Because that'll keep you on track. That'll keep you going, whether there's actual money coming into the business or not. That'll keep you motivated if you have to keep your 9 to 5 while you're building your business. So it's all about you. And that's the number one thing that I want people to know. Please, 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 please look internally and not externally when it comes to your business. I think after we get past that and you know what you're in it for, your money has to work for you. And what that means is it's expensive to run a business. It's I call it the advanced version of personal finance, because you really have to have solid professional, personal financial goals before you take on a business, because a business and your personal finance, although you may be supporting your business, they are two different things, and they should not be mixed. They each have different goals. Maybe your personal goal is to not have to work for the rest of your life, whereas the business has totally different goals. So make sure that you know why your business is, and that it's going to make money for you, and it's hopefully going to make your life a little easier once you get it started. As you know, in the beginning of setting up a business, it's stressful. It's like you said, you have to deal with potentially accounting and knowing what your expenses are and having a balance sheet and cash flows and everything that you're just overwhelmed by. But there's a method to the madness.
Yeah, and I love, Jayla, how I just saw something you posted on your Instagram actually, and it really, I thought, oh my gosh, this sets the stage. It's like expectations versus reality. I think it's what you had, right? And I think
Yes.
it was like a repost or something, but I thought that was really telling, because there's this little image of this person kind of climbing straight up through the straight line, like, yeah, this is where I'm going. I got a business. I'm be rolling in the dollars. And then you have reality, and it's like up, down, sideways, turn over, do a
Yes.
flip, go back, come back up. And so
Exactly.
it's really not a straight line. And so how do you kind of advise folks as they're going through, running their business? And again, particularly with the hat of looking at their finances and, really wanting to build wealth for their families and themselves and their communities. What are some, encouraging words or even some strategies or tips that you can give folks to navigate through that?
Understand that, like you said, it's not going to be a linear journey. It's not going to be you decide to create this business and then it makes millions upon millions of dollars. It's going to be more like $0. Hey, $10. I worked hard for that $10. $0. $10,000. $0. Oh my God. Okay, I'm making consistent money. And I think that's why I go back to the goals. I go back to, hey, we're not chasing the money. The money will come. But as long as you're doing something that makes you feel good, something that you will continue to do on those months where you're not making money, and will continue if you're making $10,000 a month, then it's much easier to come to your business every day prepared to work and knowing that you're doing something that makes you feel joy, that brings you comfort, and is just worth your time. So with that comes being used to hearing no, understanding that it's not always going to work out the way that you think it is. Like you said, expectations versus reality. If I had been in on my own financial for the money, this business would not exist. But the joy, the passion, the everything that it's exposed me to, I am just, I can't stop. And even when I try and quit, there's somebody that comes to me and says, oh my God, what you're doing has inspired me. Or I started investing because I heard you talk about your child having an investment account. And it's just like, okay, I can continue on. Like, that's all I needed to hear. That's where I get my spiritual, just, okay, I've got more energy to keep it going. So your business should offer you joy. It's going to be painstakingly tough. I do say, I want you to realize that everything requires balance. With that, I mean, your business is always going to have expenses. You're always going to have some form of taxes, but you also want to get yourself in there. You want to start maybe saving for retirement. So those may be your big three. When you get money, you're always thinking, okay, my business, I got to support that. The government, got to give them what they want, and also me. And there are percentages that you can save. I know a lot of advice out there is to save maybe 30% for taxes, and then you're covered. Because that is one thing that I see business owners not doing. They're thinking, oh, I made money, and eventually, when it's time to file the taxes, my CPA or whoever I have doing my taxes will tell me how much I have to pay. Not how it works, especially when you're self-employed. So there are taxes that need to be paid quarterly. So there's something that you want to set aside and make sure that you're handling. And those are things that we don't know. And a lot of times we learn the hard way. So we don't want to do that. And that's why Wealth Best Friend exists, to kind of give you an example of the things that I've learned personally, because I really don't talk about a lot of things if I haven't actually been through it, tried it, tested it, had clients going through it. I share real experiences, and that's what helps most. It's not just textbooks saying, oh, well, you're going to have to do this. No, it's me seeing people unable to retire. And that's why I give you the advice. Anytime you make money, think about sending 1%, 5%, 10% of that money that you made to your retirement account, or saving for your emergency fund if that's what you need. So.
I love that. I love that, Jayla. I think what I'm hearing too is like plan ahead, right? I think a lot of the times we live kind of in the moment, and I'm a fan of that. I think we got to embrace it all, the messy, the beauty. You got to find the joy. And at the same time, you have to plan, right? You got to write things down. You got to try to forecast as best as possible. Find those people on your team that have your best interests at heart, that you trust, that can help you with all that. But it's difficult, and yet it's something that's necessary. And so I'm going to put a little spin on kind of our convo now, and ask you the question around thinking about planning ahead and what you've talked about, retirement. I know there's a lot of work you do around like trusts and those kinds of things that we don't always think about or like to talk about. So how does that impact a business owner? Like if you were to say, I'm not just someone that works 9 to 5. I either have a side gig, or maybe I'm running my brick and mortar full time, or doing my pop-up full time. What does like that look like for me? What does a trust mean? What is that? How does it impact my business? How could it help my business? So all of that good stuff you want to share.
Oh yeah. And estate planning, don't let me run off on a tangent. But essentially, it's all about you deciding whether you want your business to continue on without you. A lot of times we have wonderful just businesses that help the community, but we don't do any planning to say, okay, when I step away from this business, or when I'm unable to work in this business, I have a plan for it to continue to thrive, continue to be a financial resource for me or to my family. And that's where trusts come in. If you have a business succession plan, which just means the natural order of this is where I want my business to go, or this is what I want to happen to my business, your trust and your trustee would be in charge of that transition. and they would do anything that you specified in your trust. What a trust is and why it's one of my favorite things. Unlike a will, which only activates after you're no longer here, a trust activates the minute that you sign it. And you're normally the trustee. You make all the decisions. You put assets into your trust, and the trust controls and owns it. So when you pass away, that's not your asset. It's not something that would go into a probate, which is a court situation, and get stuck there for years, and your beneficiaries or your family wouldn't be able to get the benefits of the income. It kind of just gets held up. If you don't know how long these processes take, Google Prince's will or Google Prince's estate proceedings. They're still going on, and he's been gone for a few years now. So you're trying to avoid that, but you're also trying to make sure that you've decided what's going to happen to your business. If you want your business to continue, you can specify that either the trustee has to hire somebody who does the work that you do, or that your siblings or your children can be hired to be in the business and run it. They can be CEO, they can be whatever you've specified, but it's just you planning ahead, having a long-term plan that you and your family, because I would hope you would talk about this with them. Don't just appoint them and say you're in charge. And they don't know, they don't expect that, but let them know and talk about this and see if it would work. See if they're interested in continuing your legacy of your business. But just know that this won't happen unless you take an active step. This is something that you have to talk to a licensed attorney about, and they will get you settled.
Yeah, that's all. And I love that you're bringing all that to light, and you're using words that honestly I'm not comfortable with, like probate and trust and what is this, and I know I'm not alone out there.
No.
But it's something that's so important, in our communities, and specifically, my parents too, they have their small business, and we don't talk about that. Does the business dissolve? Do they just let it go? I mean, it's something they built over 20, 30 years. Like what's the plan? And all of that matters when you're building wealth, right? I think when we think of, I'm making money versus I'm building wealth are two different things.
Very much.
Right. And so we don't want this to be ultimately something that is short-lived, right? I think folks put their blood, sweat, and tears into their business oftentimes, and you want there to be some sort of sustainability or legacy, or pass it on to your kids, or something that resonates, that you could say, this is another reason why I built it. It brings me joy. I'm bringing a needed service or product, but I'm also building wealth for my family. Exactly. So, I know we're coming up on our time, and so I want to be respectful of that, but I just want to kind of give you the opportunity, any kind of last tips or nuggets, golden nuggets you want to throw at folks that are either listening to us live or watching the recording. And then we definitely want to close with encouraging folks to visit your page, to reach out to you on a DM if they have any questions about this, because it could be pretty scary and pretty messy to think about when you start to really look at the whole picture, right, around finances and building wealth. So any golden nuggets?
Well, definitely, if you have any questions, like you said, please feel free, hit us up on Money Mondays. Every Monday, I am on Instagram answering questions from everybody and anybody, just about anything that you're going through. So feel free to take advantage of that resource. My last nugget is something that I needed to hear as a new business owner. Don't forget to partner with other brands and people that align with your mission and are trying to do good in this world, like you. So I definitely appreciate you for thinking of me, because as a small business owner, I started, and hence the name of my business, On My Own Financial. You think you have to do it all by yourself. Yeah. You don't. Please make it easier on yourself. There are people out there that want to work with you. Community, exactly. Community is everything. It's amazing to work with others, and you get much further, and you avoid burnout because you don't want to do this on your own. So build a community.
Yeah. Thank you, Jayla, and everyone, right? Experts, friends, family, social impact folks that have a cause and a mission. I mean, you want kind of the whole kind of think broad, right? Think wide and far, and don't limit yourself to is what I would say.
Exactly. Exactly. There's always something that you can learn from somebody, even if you're learning something negative. Oh, I know. I'm going to keep a positive attitude because this one's real negative. You're going to learn.
So true, Jayla. Well, thank you so much for this session on financial health bills, financial wealth. And we know it's not just one-sided. It's also not a clear, straight road going up that hill. It can be a very bumpy, windy, upside down road. And so we just want to encourage all of you listening that, we're here for you as a community. We want you to be successful, whatever that means for you. Please reach out to Jayla with any questions. Follow her page on My Own Financial, and hopefully you all found some great value and some golden nuggets. But I want to thank you, Jayla, so much for taking the time,
No, thank
and we'll
you.
see you soon. We'll see everybody soon. Have a
Yes.
wonderful
Have a
weekend.
good one. Thanks for stopping by.
Thank you. Bye-bye.